Captain Taejin stood on the bridge of the Dawn Treader, watching the stars blur past the view screen. He had been exploring space for 15 years, but this moment still made his heart beat faster. Today, humanity would make contact with the Valkyrie, one of the oldest species in the galaxy. "They're older than we can imagine," Dr. Hana said beside him. She was the ship's xenobiologist, and her eyes shone with excitement. "The records say they've been traveling space for over 2 million years." Lieutenant Hyun checked his console. "Their ship is responding to our hail. They're ready to meet." Ambassador Yuna smoothed her diplomatic robes. "Remember, everyone, we represent all of Earth today. Let's make a good impression." The view screen changed. A Valkyrie appeared before them. The alien was tall and thin, with silver skin that seemed to shimmer like water. Its eyes were large and dark, holding an intelligence that made Taejin feel very young. "Greetings," Yuna said with a bow. "We are humans from the planet Earth. We come in peace and friendship." The Valkyrie tilted its head. "Humans. We have heard rumors of your species. You are new to the stars." "Yes," Taejin said. "We only began exploring beyond our solar system 50 years ago. We have much to learn from elder species like yours." The Valkyrie's expression seemed pleased. "You show wisdom in recognizing this. We have watched many young species enter the galaxy. Most are not so humble." It paused. "Tell us more about your world." "Where is your home?" Yuna smiled. "Our planet is called Earth. It orbits a yellow star we call Sol. The coordinates are..." The Valkyrie's face changed completely. Its silver skin went pale, almost white. Its large eyes grew wider with what looked like pure fear. "Sol?" the Valkyrie whispered. "Sol 3? The third planet?" "Yes," Taejin said, confused by the reaction. "Is something wrong?" The Valkyrie stepped back from the screen. Behind it, other Valkyrie were moving quickly, their movements sharp and panicked. Alarms began to sound on their ship. "Ambassador, what's happening?" Hana asked. The Valkyrie turned back to them. Its voice was shaking. "You must leave this sector. Immediately. Do not tell anyone else where you come from. Delete your coordinates from all broadcasts." "I don't understand," Yuna said. "Have we offended you somehow?" "Offended?" The Valkyrie made a sound like bitter laughter. "No. Humans. You terrify us. Your world terrifies every species that knows its name." Taejin felt cold. "Why? What's wrong with Earth?" "We cannot speak of it," the Valkyrie said. "This meeting is over. We will forget we saw you. We will forget you exist. I suggest you do the same with us." "Please," Hana stepped forward. "We need to understand. If there's a danger, the danger is not to you," the Valkyrie said. "It is you, or rather, what shares your world." Before anyone could respond, the screen went dark. The Valkyrie ship began to move away at incredible speed. "Should we follow them?" Hyun asked. "No," Taejin said slowly. "Something tells me that would be a very bad idea." Yuna's face was pale. "In 30 years as a diplomat, I have never seen a reaction like that." They were terrified. I'm pulling up our data on the Valkyrie," Hana said, her fingers flying over her console. "They've survived wars, disasters, and encounters with dozens of hostile species. They're known for being brave and calm." "Then why did they run from us?" Hyun asked. Taejin sat in his captain's chair, thinking hard. "They didn't run from us. They ran from Earth. From something about our planet." "But what?" Yuna asked. "Earth is just a planet. Yes, we have wars and problems. But we're not that dangerous. They said it wasn't us," Hana said quietly. "They said it was what shares our world." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Everyone was thinking the same thing. What else was on Earth? What could be so terrible that a species 2 million years old would flee at the mention of it? "Captain," Hyun said suddenly, "I'm detecting something. A message. Very faint. It's coming from the Valkyrie ship." "Put it through," Taejin ordered. The speakers crackled. A young voice spoke, different from the ambassador. The Valkyrie was whispering, as if afraid of being heard. Humans, listen carefully. My name doesn't matter. I am a scientist, and I study ancient things. I should not tell you this, but you deserve to know. The voice paused. Every species that is old enough knows about your planet. We have records going back hundreds of thousands of years. Your world is marked in our oldest star charts. Marked how? Taejin asked, though he wasn't sure if they could hear him. The Valkyrie continued as if answering. The symbol means forbidden zone. It means death for those who go there. It means power beyond understanding. Humans, we do not fear you. You are children, barely able to walk among the stars. We fear your world. We fear the others. Others? Hana breathed. What others? I have said too much already, the Valkyrie scientist said. But know this. You think you are alone on your world. You think you are the masters of Earth. You are wrong. You have never been alone. And the things that walk beside you, that swim in your deep oceans, that live in the bones of your world, they are what we fear. They are what keep the old species away. The message ended abruptly. For a long moment, no one spoke. Taejin could hear his own heartbeat. He thought about Earth, about home, about the oceans that covered most of the planet, depths that humans had barely explored, about the vast underground caves that went down for miles, about the strange stories that every culture told. Legends of things in the dark. It's not possible, Yuna said, but her voice was uncertain. We would know. We would have found evidence. Would we? Hana asked. How much of our planet have we actually explored? The deep ocean is less known to us than the surface of Mars. We've barely scratched the underground, and if something didn't want to be found, are you saying there are other intelligent species on Earth? Hyun asked. Secret ones? I'm saying we just learned that the galaxy's oldest species are terrified of our planet, Hana said. And they've been afraid for hundreds of thousands of years. That's longer than humans have existed as we are now. Taejin made a decision. Hyun. Send an encrypted message to Earth Command. Maximum security. Tell them what happened here. Tell them we need answers. Yes, sir. Hana. I want you to look through all our records. Every unexplained event. Every strange disappearance. Every mystery about Earth we've never solved. Looking for what? Hana asked. Looking for them, Taejin said. Whoever they are. Whatever they are. The others. As the Dawn Treader turned toward the next sector, Taejin stared at the stars. He had left Earth thinking he would find mysteries in space. Instead, he had discovered the biggest mystery of all was the world he came from. Somewhere down there, hidden in the depths and the darkness, something existed. Something powerful enough to frighten beings who had ruled the galaxy for millions of years, and humanity had never known they were there. 6 months had passed since the encounter with the Valkyrie. Captain Taejin had not forgotten that day, and neither had anyone else aboard the Dawn Treader. Earth Command had ordered them to continue their mission, but also to investigate the mystery. They were to meet other ancient species and see if the pattern repeated. It did, every single time. Dr. Wu Jin sat in the research room, surrounded by holographic displays. He was a historian who specialized in alien cultures, and what he was finding made him feel sick with worry. On the screen in front of him, ancient star charts glowed with soft light. Look at this, he said to Commander Sua, who stood beside him. She was an intelligence officer, trained to find patterns and secrets. This chart is from the Methodry. They're 500,000 years old as a spacefaring species. Sua leaned closer. The chart showed hundreds of stars, each marked with different symbols. Most were green or blue. Some were red or yellow, but one star, one single star in the entire chart, was marked in black. Sol, she said quietly. Our sun. Exactly, Woojin said. He pulled up another chart. This is from the progenitors. They're even older, nearly 1,000,000 years of space travel. Look, the same pattern. Hundreds of stars in various colors, but Sol was marked differently. This time, the symbol looked like a warning sign. And this, Woojin said, pulling up a third chart, is from the Silent Ones. We barely managed to get this. They don't like to talk to younger species. Sua stared at the chart. Sol was marked with a symbol that looked like a closed eye. Beneath it were words in the Silent One's language. What does it say? She asked. It says, where the gardeners still work. Do not disturb. Gardeners, Sua said. What does that mean? I don't know, Woojin admitted. But every ancient species we've found has the same information. Earth is special. Earth is dangerous. Earth is forbidden. On the bridge, Captain Taejin was having his own difficult conversation. On the view screen was a Methodry elder, a being that looked like it was made of crystal and light. The Methodry were known for being wise and kind, but this one looked nervous. I will answer your questions, human, the elder said. But know that speaking of your world brings me fear. Why? Taejin asked directly. What is on our planet that scares you? The elder was quiet for a long time. Finally it spoke. Your world is old, Captain. Older than your species knows. And it is a garden. A garden, Dr. Hana said from her station. What does that mean? It means that Earth was chosen long ago, the elder said. Chosen by beings we do not understand. Beings that existed before most of the galaxy's current species. They shaped your world. They filled it with life, and they have never left. Taejin felt his blood run cold. You're saying there are ancient beings on Earth? Living there right now? Living is not the right word, the elder said. They are beyond what we call life. They exist in ways we cannot fully comprehend. They are in your oceans, in your ground, in your very air, and they do not welcome visitors to their garden. But humans live there, Hana said. We've lived there for hundreds of thousands of years. Yes, the elder said, and now it sounded almost sad. You were allowed to grow. Perhaps you were part of the garden's design. Perhaps they find you interesting, but they are still there, and they still tend their creation. Ships that have gone to your world without permission have vanished. Species that tried to study Earth too closely have disappeared. We learned long ago to stay away. How long ago? Taejin asked. The oldest records we have are 50,000 years old, the elder said. The warning about Sol 3 is in our most ancient texts. Before the Methodry even became what we are now, someone knew. Someone warned us. And we have remembered. After the call ended, Taejin sat in silence. Hana came to stand beside him. Do you believe it? She asked. I don't know what to believe, Taejin said. But I know we've now heard the same story from 4 different species. Species that don't talk to each other. Species that have no reason to lie to us. Commander Sua wants to see you, Hyun said from his station. She says it's urgent. In the research room, Sua and Woojin had more information to share, and none of it was comforting. I've been looking into our own history, Sua said. Specifically, I've been looking at exploration ships that revealed Earth's location to other species. And? Taejin asked. 7 ships, Sua said. Over the past 30 years, 7 human ships have made contact with alien species and told them we're from Earth. 3 of those ships disappeared without a trace within months of that contact. 2 more had entire crews die from unknown causes. The remaining 2 only survived because they were in heavily populated areas of space. That could be coincidence, Yuna said. But she didn't sound convinced. It could be, Sua agreed. But here's the interesting part. I checked the alien species records. In each case of a disappearance, the alien species we contacted also lost ships. Ships that were sent to investigate Earth's location. Woojin pulled up a holographic display. It gets worse. I've been digging through old Earth legends and myths. Every culture on Earth, and I mean every single one, has stories about others. The Greeks called some of them titans. The Norse had their giants. Asian cultures speak of dragons and spirits. African legends tell of ancient beings that lived before humans. And every single story says the same thing. What? Taejin asked. That these beings are still here, Woojin said. Hiding, sleeping, or living in places humans don't go. The deep ocean, the underground, the ancient forests. These aren't just myths, Captain. They're memories. Warnings passed down through generations. Hana pulled up her own data. I've been analyzing Earth's exploration records. We've sent probes and submarines into the deepest parts of the ocean. Guess how many have successfully reached the bottom and returned? How many? Hyun asked. Less than 30%, Hana said. And the ones that do return often have corrupted data or damaged equipment. We've blamed it on pressure and technical failures. But what if it's not that? What if something down there doesn't want us looking? You're talking about conspiracy theories, Yuna said. Earth governments would know if there were other intelligent beings on the planet, would they? Suah asked. I've found classified files, Ambassador. Files that have been sealed for decades. They reference managed contact incidents and territorial agreements. Someone on Earth knows something. Someone has known for a long time. Taejin stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the stars burned in the darkness. Somewhere out there was Earth. His home, the place where he'd been born, where he'd grown up, where he'd played as a child and studied as a young man. He thought he knew his world, but now he was learning that he knew nothing. What do we do? He asked quietly. We need to go back, Woojin said. We need to go to Earth and find the truth. Earth Command won't allow it, Yuna said. They ordered us to continue our exploration mission. Earth. Then we go without orders, Hana said firmly. Captain, humanity deserves to know what's on their own planet. We deserve to know who we're sharing our world with. Taejin turned back to his crew. They were looking at him with trust, waiting for his decision. He thought about everything they'd learned. About ancient species fleeing at the mention of Earth, about ships disappearing, about legends and myths that might be true. About the possibility that humans had never been alone. That they had always shared their world with something else. Something powerful enough to make beings millions of years old stay away in fear. Set a course for Earth, he said. We're going home, and we're going to find out what's really there. Earth looked beautiful from orbit. Blue and white and green. A jewel hanging in the darkness of space. Captain Taejin had seen it many times before, but now he looked at it differently. Now he wondered what secrets hid beneath those clouds and oceans. We're being hailed by Earth Command, Hyun said. They want to know why we're back early. Tell them we're following up on first contact protocols, Taejin said. We need to report our findings in person. It was partially true. But the real reason they'd come back was to investigate, to find out what else lived on Earth. 3 days later, Taejin and his crew met with Dr. Ji-woo in her research facility on the coast of South Korea. Ji-woo was a marine biologist, and she had information that made their investigations suddenly more real. I'm glad you came to me, Ji-woo said, leading them through her lab. Tanks of water surrounded them, filled with strange creatures from the deep ocean. I've been trying to tell people about this for years. But no one listens. Tell us about what? Hana asked. Ji-woo pulled up a map of the ocean floor on a large screen. These are the deepest trenches on Earth. The Mariana Trench, the Tonga Trench, the Philippine Trench. We've sent dozens of probes and submarines down there. And? Taejin said. And something keeps destroying them, Ji-woo said flatly. The official reports say equipment failure or pressure damage. But I've analyzed the data from the probes that managed to send information back before they died. The damage patterns don't match pressure. They match something grabbing the probes and crushing them. She pulled up grainy video footage. In the darkness of the deep ocean, lights from a probe illuminated the water. For a moment, everything seemed normal. Then something moved in the darkness. Something huge. The camera shook, metal groaned, and the feed went dead. What was that? Hyun asked, his face pale. I don't know, Ji-woo said. But it's not alone. We've lost 17 deep-sea probes in the last 5 years. All in the same way. All in the deepest parts of the ocean, where no light reaches. Why hasn't this been made public? Yuna asked. Because the government classified it, Ji-woo said bitterly. They said it would cause panic. They said we needed more evidence. But how can we get evidence if everything we send down there gets destroyed? Woo Jin was studying the map. These areas where the probes disappeared. They're spread across the entire globe. Pacific, Atlantic, Indian Ocean, whatever is down there, it's everywhere. Or there are many of them, Ji-woo said quietly. Their next meeting was with Professor Hae-won, who studied cryptozoology. Most scientists thought her field was nonsense, stories of creatures that didn't exist, but when she showed them her research, they began to understand why she believed. Every culture on Earth has legends of strange creatures, he once said. They were in her office, walls covered with maps and photographs. Sea monsters, underground dwellers, sky beings. Most scientists dismiss these as myths. But what if they're not? She pulled up a world map covered in colored dots. These are documented sightings of unexplained creatures over the past 100 years. Thousands of them. I've removed obvious hoaxes and cases of mistaken identity. What's left is still over 3,000 solid reports. Reports aren't evidence, Sua said. True, Hae-won agreed. But look at the pattern. The sightings aren't random. They cluster in specific areas. Deep forests, mountain ranges, desert regions, and most commonly, near bodies of water and cave systems. Taejin studied the map. She was right. The dots formed clear patterns, like territorial boundaries. You're saying these creatures, whatever they are, have territories? He asked. I'm saying something is out there, Hae-won said. Something that wants to avoid humans but occasionally gets seen. And the sightings have been consistent for hundreds of years. The same types of creatures, in the same locations, described the same way by people who never met each other. Hana was looking at photographs on the wall. One showed strange lights over the ocean at night. Another showed massive tracks in snow, far too large to be from any known animal. A third showed a cave entrance that had been sealed with stone, carved in patterns that no human culture used. Who sealed that cave? Hana asked, pointing. We don't know, Hae-won said. It was found in Mongolia, miles from any settlement. The stone was analyzed. It's over 10,000 years old, and it was moved there from somewhere else. Something sealed that cave and didn't want anyone going in. Agent Kang Min was their next contact. He worked for the government's intelligence division, and he had access to files that were supposed to remain secret forever. I could lose my job for showing you this, Kang Min said. They were in a secure room deep underground. But after what you've told me about the alien species, I think you need to know. He opened a file on a computer that wasn't connected to any network. These are classified reports going back 200 years. They document what the government calls managed contact incidents. Contact with what? Taejin asked. With entities, Kang Min said. The reports never call them aliens because they're not from space. They're from Earth. But they're not human. The first documented case was in 1847. A mining operation in Peru broke through into an underground cavern. The miners found a city down there. An entire city. Built in a style no human culture had ever used. They also found the city was still inhabited. By what? Yuna asked. The report doesn't say exactly, Kang Min said. The miners who survived didn't want to talk about it. But the government sent a team to investigate. The team never came back. The entrance to the cavern collapsed in what was officially called an earthquake, but the report suggests it was sealed deliberately. He pulled up more files. There are dozens of these. Ships that encounter something in the deep ocean and are warned away. Research stations in Antarctica that are abandoned after the crews see something. Expeditions into deep caves that find evidence of civilization far below the surface. And in every case, the government covers it up and classifies the information. Why? Hana demanded. People have a right to know. Because of this, Kang Min said, pulling up the most recent file. It was dated only 5 years ago. A deep-sea drilling operation in the Pacific. They were drilling for mineral samples when they broke through into a chamber. The chamber was filled with water, but it had walls that were clearly artificial. They sent a remote camera down. He played the video. The camera descended through dark water, its lights illuminating smooth walls covered in strange patterns. Then it entered a larger space. The lights swept across what looked like buildings, structures built for beings much larger than humans. And in the distance, something moved, something that noticed the camera. The video feed began to shake. Warning messages appeared on the screen. Then a voice, deep and resonant, spoke words in a language no one recognized. The video ended. What happened to the drilling operation? Taejin asked. It was shut down the next day, Kang Min said. Official reason was environmental concerns. But the truth is, the crew refused to go back. They said something came up from the depths after that video. It circled their ship all night, just below the surface. Something big enough to create waves that rocked a drilling platform. In the morning, they found a message carved into the hull of their ship. What did it say? Sua asked. It was in Korean, English, and Mandarin. Kang Min said. It said, "This is our place. Leave now." The room was silent. "So they can communicate," Woojin said finally. "They know human languages." "It appears so," Kang Min said. "The government has been aware of other intelligences on Earth for at least 200 years, probably longer. They've been managing contact, keeping it quiet, making agreements we don't know about." Taejin stood and walked around the room. His mind was racing. Everything they'd learned pointed to the same conclusion. Earth was home to other intelligent beings. Beings that lived in the oceans, underground, perhaps in other places humans couldn't reach. They had been there long before humans evolved. And they were still there. Watching. Waiting. "We need more evidence," he said. "We need to find one of these places. Somewhere we can prove these beings exist." "I know a place," Jiwoo said. "There's a trench in the Pacific. Every probe we've sent there has been destroyed, but always in the same area. If something is deliberately stopping us, that's where it lives. And I know a cave system in China," Hee-won added. "It goes down for miles. Explorers have found artifacts there that don't match any known human culture. The government sealed it 30 years ago. But I know how to get in." Taejin looked at his crew. They had come to Earth looking for answers. Now they had more questions than ever. But they also had leads, places where they might find proof. "Then we investigate," he said. "We find out who we're sharing our world with. And we find out why the galaxy is afraid of them." Outside the secure room, the sun was setting over Earth. In the oceans and caves and hidden places of the world, ancient beings stirred. They had noticed the humans asking questions. They had noticed the ship that came from the stars, and they were deciding what to do about it. The message arrived on Captain Taejin's personal device at 3 in the morning. It had no sender, no origin point, nothing that showed where it came from. It simply appeared, as if by magic. "Come to the coordinates below. Come alone, or come with those you trust. But come now. It is time for truth." Below the message were coordinates in the Gobi Desert. Taejin sat up in bed, his heart pounding. He checked his device's security. Nothing. No trace of how the message had arrived. He read it again, then made a decision. He called his crew. 2 days later, they stood in the desert under a burning sun. The coordinates had led them to a seemingly empty stretch of sand and rock. There was nothing there. No buildings. No signs of life. Nothing. "Are you sure this is right?" Hyun asked, checking his scanner. "These are the exact coordinates," Taejin said. "Then where?" Hannah started to say. The ground moved beneath their feet. Not an earthquake. Something deliberate. A section of desert floor began to sink, revealing a ramp leading down into darkness. Lights flickered on, illuminating steps carved from ancient stone. "Well," Sua said, drawing her weapon, "I guess we go down." They descended for what felt like hours. The stairs went deep, deeper than any building Taejin had ever seen. The walls around them were smooth and covered with carvings. Not human carvings. The patterns were wrong, the proportions strange, as if made by beings with different eyes and different minds. Finally, the stairs ended. They emerged into a vast chamber that took their breath away. It was huge, the size of several city blocks. The ceiling was so high, it disappeared into shadows, and it was full of beings. Some looked almost human. Others were clearly not. There were tall figures made of something that looked like living crystal. There were beings that seemed to flow like water, holding their shape through will alone. There were creatures with too many limbs, beings that floated in the air, entities that hurt to look at directly because they bent light in impossible ways. And in the center of the chamber stood an old human man. He looked about 70, with white hair and kind eyes. He smiled when he saw them. "Welcome," he said. "I am Elder Day One. I've been waiting for you." "What is this place?" Taejin asked, his voice barely a whisper. "This is one of many meeting places," Day One said. "Places where humans and the others can talk in peace. I lead an organization that has known the truth for centuries. We have kept the secret, maintained the peace, and prepared for the day when humanity would be ready to know." "Know what?" Yuna asked. Day One gestured to the beings around them. "That we are not alone on Earth. That we have never been alone. That our planet is home to many forms of intelligence, and humans are just one of them." A being that looked like water in a vaguely human shape stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice sounded like waves on a shore. "We are the depths. We have lived in Earth's oceans for 300 million years. We were here before any life walked on land." Another being, this one made of stone and metal, moved forward. Its voice was deep, like rocks grinding together. "We are the beneath. We evolved in the heat and pressure of Earth's crust. The underground is our home. We have built cities in places your kind cannot reach." A third being appeared, though Taejin couldn't quite focus on it. It seemed to be made of light and electricity, constantly shifting. Its voice was like wind and thunder. "We are the Watchers. We exist in the upper atmosphere, in the magnetic fields, in the storms. We are energy given form. We have observed your world since the first lightning struck the first ocean." Hana's legs felt weak. She sat down hard on the stone floor. "This is impossible." "Is it?" Daewon asked gently. "You've seen the evidence. The destroyed probes, the sealed caves, the ancient warnings, the fear of species who have traveled the stars for millions of years. It's all true. Earth is not a human world. Earth is a shared world." "Why didn't you tell us?" Taejin demanded. "Why keep this secret?" "Because humanity was not ready," one of the beneath said. "You were young, violent. You fought among yourselves. You destroyed your own environment. If you had known about us, you would have feared us, perhaps attacked us. We chose to wait until you grew wise enough to understand. We've been watching you." A being from the depths said. "We've protected you. When the first asteroids came that might have destroyed all life on the surface, we deflected them. When radiation from space threatened your evolution, we shielded the planet. We have been the guardians of Earth, while humanity grew." "But why?" Woojin asked. "Why protect us? Why let us develop at all?" The Watcher being flickered with what might have been amusement. "Because you are interesting. In all the millions of years we have existed, we have never seen a species quite like yours. You create art, you tell stories. You have something you call imagination. You dream of things that don't exist and then make them real. We find this fascinating." Ambassador Nari stepped forward from the shadows. She was a woman about 50 years old, dressed in formal robes. "I am the human diplomat to the Earth Collective. That's what we call this council. I speak for humanity in matters that affect all of Earth's peoples." "There's a diplomat?" Yuna said, stunned. "How long has this been going on?" "Officially, since 1972, Nari said. But, unofficially, humans and the others have been in contact for thousands of years. Most of what you call mythology is actually history. The stories of gods and monsters, of beings from the sea and the sky, of creatures in the deep places, they're all real. They're just stories about meetings between humans and the other peoples of Earth. Day One sat down on a stone bench and invited them to join him. You've asked why the ancient alien species fear Earth. Now I'll tell you the full truth. They fear us all. Of us, human and other together, because we are different. Different how? Taejin asked. Most planets have one intelligent species, Day One explained. Sometimes two, if they evolved separately. But Earth has dozens. We are unique in the galaxy, a world where many different forms of intelligence emerged and learned to coexist. Not always peacefully, one of the beneath added. There have been wars, conflicts, mistakes. But we learned. We grew. We made agreements. A being from the depths continued. When alien species have come to Earth, they have not met only humans. They have met us, and we have defended our shared world. We are not aggressive, but we are powerful. Very powerful. A ship that comes to Earth with hostile intent will face not one species but many. Working together, coordinating, protecting our home. That's why they fear us, Hana said, understanding dawning. It's not just that you exist. It's that Earth is a united world. Different species, different forms of life, all defending the same planet. Exactly, Day One said. And we have technology they don't understand. The beneath can manipulate gravity and energy in ways that seem like magic. The depths can control water on a molecular level. The Watchers can disrupt any electronic system, shut down any computer. Together, we make Earth a fortress, a planet that cannot be conquered or controlled by outsiders. Is that why you stayed hidden? Sua asked. To maintain that defense? Partially, Nari said. But also because we wanted humanity to develop on their own, to become who they were meant to be without interference. And now, you have done that. You've reached the stars. You've met other species. You're ready to know the truth about your own world. What happens now? Taejin asked. That depends on you, Day One said. The secret is out. Other species in the galaxy know that humans are asking questions about Earth. They know that the truth might emerge. We need to decide together, all the peoples of Earth, how to handle this. One of the Watchers flickered. Some of the ancient species are discussing quarantine. They want to seal Earth off from the rest of the galaxy. They are afraid of what we represent. Others want to destroy Earth. A being from the beneath said bluntly. They see us as a threat. A planet that should not exist. But they cannot. A being from the depths said with what sounded like satisfaction. Earth is too strong. We have made sure of that. For millions of years, we have prepared. We have built defenses they cannot breach. We have created weapons they cannot counter. Let them try to quarantine us. Let them try to attack. They will fail. But we don't want war, Day One said firmly. We want peace. We want Earth to join the galactic community openly, honestly, as a multi-species world. We want to show the galaxy that cooperation is possible. He looked at Taejin and his crew. That's why we revealed ourselves to you. You are explorers, diplomats, scientists. You can speak for Earth, human, and other together. You can show the galaxy what we really are. Taejin stood, his mind racing. Everything he thought he knew was wrong. Earth was not a human planet. It never had been. But it was home. And these beings, strange as they were, had protected that home, had protected humanity, had kept the planet safe while humans grew and learned and reached for the stars. I'll do it, he said. We'll do it. We'll speak for Earth. All of Earth. Around the chamber, the beings of the Earth Collective made sounds of approval. Some hummed. Some clicked. Some simply radiated satisfaction. Humanity had been offered a place at the table, and they had accepted. The news leaked 3 weeks later. A journalist on Mars had intercepted a classified transmission. The story spread across human space like wildfire. Earth was home to multiple intelligent species. Humanity had never been alone. The reaction was chaos. Some people celebrated, excited by the discovery. Others were angry, demanding to know why they'd been lied to. Many were simply afraid. Fear of the unknown, fear of beings that had hidden among them for so long. But the reaction of the galactic community was worse. Director Sung-ho stood in the command center of Earth's Space Defense Network, watching the tactical display with growing concern. He was a military man, 55 years old, with gray hair and hard eyes. He had led Earth's defense for 10 years, but he had never seen anything like this. 23 alien fleets, his second-in-command reported. All converging on Seoul. They'll be here in a week. Have they made any demands? Sung-ho asked. Yes, sir. They want Earth quarantined. No ships in or out. No contact with the rest of the galaxy. If we refuse, they say they'll enforce it by force. And if that doesn't work, the officer's face went pale. Then some of them are advocating for a more permanent solution. Sung-ho understood. Destroy Earth. Remove the problem. On the Dawn Treader, Captain Tae-jin received an emergency transmission. It was from the Velkari, the first species they'd encountered. A figure appeared on screen. It was not the same Velkari who had fled from them before. This one wore armor and carried weapons. Behind it, a massive battle fleet hung in space. Humans of Earth, the Velkari commander said. We speak for the Ancient Alliance. 23 species. All older than your kind. All with fleets capable of destroying worlds. We know your secret now. We know what shares your planet. Then you know we're not a threat, Tae-jin said. You are the greatest threat the galaxy has ever known, the Velkari commander shouted. A world where multiple apex species exist together? Where they coordinate? Where they've been preparing for millions of years? Your planet is an anomaly. A danger. You must be contained. We've never attacked anyone, Hana protested. We've never threatened the galaxy. Not yet. The Velkari said. But you could. A united Earth. All its species working together. With technology that predates most galactic civilizations, you could conquer half the galaxy if you chose. We cannot allow that possibility. The transmission ended, but then another transmission came in. This one was audio only, and the voice was old and tired. Captain Tae-jin, the voice said. This is the voice. I speak for a different alliance. Species who are old enough to remember why cooperation matters. We do not fear Earth. We fear what the Ancient Alliance will do. Who are you? Tae-jin asked. Names don't matter. What matters is this. There are some of us who believe Earth represents hope, not threat. A world where different species work together is what the galaxy needs. But you are outnumbered. The Ancient Alliance has 23 fleets. We have only 5. We will stand with you if war comes, but we will likely lose. Then what do we do? Tae-jin asked. You show them, the voice said. You show them what Earth really is. Before the fleets arrive. Before fear makes them do something terrible. You have 1 week. In the underground chamber where the Earth Collective met, beings from all across the planet gathered. The depths sent representatives from every ocean. The beneath sent envoys from the great underground cities. The Watchers manifested in physical form, their energy bodies crackling with power. And humans came. Not just diplomats and leaders. Regular people. Scientists, artists, teachers, farmers. People who represented what humanity was. Elder Day One stood before the assembly. The galaxy is coming, he said. They are afraid of us. They don't understand how we can exist together, how different forms of life can share one world. We must decide how to respond. A being from the depths spoke, its voice like deep ocean currents. We could fight. Our defenses are strong. We could destroy any fleet that comes. And then what? Ambassador Nari asked. We become the monsters they think we are? We prove that Earth is a threat? But if we do nothing, they'll cage us. A representative from the beneath rumbled. Quarantine Earth. Cut us off from the stars. Humanity has just begun to explore. Would you take that from them? There might be another way, Taejin said. Everyone turned to look at him. We invite them here. To Earth. We show them what we are. Not as a threat display, but as an offer. We open our world to them. The chamber erupted in argument. Some thought it was brilliant. Others thought it was suicide. If we invite the fleets to Earth, they could destroy us all, one of the watchers said. They're coming anyway, Hana pointed out. This way, they come as visitors instead of invaders. They come to see, not to conquer. And what do we show them? Yuna asked. Everything, Taejin said. We show them our cities, human and other. We show them how we live together. We show them that cooperation is possible, that a world with many intelligent species isn't a threat. It's a success story. Director Sung-ho had his doubts, but he sent the invitation. To his surprise, many of the ancient species accepted. They wanted to see Earth with their own eyes. They wanted to understand what they feared. The fleets arrived 1 week later. 23 of them, spreading across Earth's solar system like a net. Weapons powered but not aimed. A threat held in reserve. And then, 5 ships came forward, representatives from each fleet, coming to Earth's surface under a flag of truce. Taejin met them at the designated landing site. It was in Korea, near the coast, where all 3 of Earth's major civilizations could be easily accessed. The ocean, for the depths, underground caves for the beneath, open sky for the watchers. The alien representatives emerged from their ships. The Valkyrie commander was there, along with leaders from the Mythodri, the progenitors, and species Taejin had never seen before. They looked nervous. They carried weapons. Welcome to Earth, Taejin said simply. He took them on a tour, first to a coastal city where humans in the depths lived in proximity. The aliens watched as human children played near the water, while beings from the depths swam just offshore. They watched humans and water beings trade goods and share food. They saw cooperation, not conflict. How is this possible? The Valkyrie commander asked. Different species cannot share resources. There is always competition. Always war. Not if you choose differently, a being from the depths said. We made a choice millions of years ago. We chose to share, to cooperate. It was not easy, but it was possible. Next, they visited an underground facility where the beneath and humans worked together on geological research. The aliens saw human scientists learning from beings who could sense the movements of the Earth itself. They saw technology shared freely between species. The beneath could have kept their knowledge secret, a Mythodri observer said. Why share it with humans? Because knowledge grows when shared. A representative from the beneath answered. Humans see the world differently than we do. Together we understand more than either could alone. Finally, they went to a high mountain where the watchers were visible in the clear air. The aliens watched as energy beings danced with human aircraft, teaching pilots how to navigate in ways that defied physics. The watchers could control all of Earth's atmosphere. The progenitor representative said. They could suffocate any life on the surface. Why allow humans to exist? Because existence is more interesting when shared, a watcher said. Humans create things we never imagined. They see beauty where we see only energy patterns. They make our world richer. The tour continued for 3 days. The aliens saw Earth's diversity, not just of species, but of cooperation. They saw humans and others living together, working together, dreaming together. On the final night, they gathered in the underground chamber where the Earth Collective met. Ambassador Nari stood before them with Captain Taejin at her side. You came here because you feared us, Nari said. You thought Earth was an anomaly, a threat. A planet that shouldn't exist. But you were wrong about one thing. What? The Velkari commander asked. We're not unique, Nari said. We're just first. Earth proves that different species can work together. That cooperation is stronger than competition. That diversity is not a weakness, but a strength. What we have, you could have too. Every world in the galaxy could be like Earth if they choose. That's impossible, a progenitor said. Species compete. It's natural law. Natural law can be changed. Elder Day One said. We changed it. Over millions of years, through wars and peace and countless mistakes, we learned. And now we offer to teach. Unleavened does. The chamber was silent. Finally, the voice spoke. The being who had sent the message to Taejin stepped forward. It was old. Very old. And it looked tired. I have lived for 3 million years, the voice said. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have seen species destroy themselves through hatred and fear. And I have never, in all that time, seen what I see here. Hope, real hope. Not just for Earth, but for all of us. The voice turned to the other aliens. We came here ready for war, ready to cage this world or destroy it. But now we face a choice. We can be the same species we've always been, ruled by fear, or we can be something new. We can learn from Earth. You're suggesting we model our worlds after this? The Velkari commander said. Allow multiple species to share our planets? I'm suggesting we try. The voice said. What do we have to lose? We've been fighting and competing for millions of years. Where has it gotten us? Here, ready to destroy a world because we're afraid of something different. Director Sung-ho stepped forward. We're not asking you to trust us immediately. We're asking you to give cooperation a chance. Let Earth be a neutral ground, a meeting place for all species. Let us show the galaxy that there's another way. The debates went on for hours. But slowly, agreement formed. The ancient species would not quarantine Earth. They would not attack. Instead, they would establish the Earth Accords, a treaty that made Earth a neutral zone, a place where all species could meet, trade, and learn. In return, Earth would share its knowledge. The depths would teach water-based species how to coexist with land dwellers. The beneath would share underground technology. The Watchers would help species understand energy in new ways, and humans would do what they did best. Create, imagine, and build bridges between different peoples. 6 months later, Captain Taejin stood on the bridge of the Dawn Treader, watching as ships from across the galaxy arrived at Earth. The planet had become the galaxy's hub, its meeting place, its symbol of hope. It's strange, Hana said beside him. We spent all that time in space looking for intelligent life. And the most amazing discovery was at home all along. Taejin smiled. Maybe that's the real lesson. We don't need to go to the stars to find wonder. We need to understand our own world first, to see the beauty and complexity that's been around us all along. Work in flute. On Earth below, humans in the depths and the beneath and the Watchers went about their daily lives. Ships from 100 worlds landed and departed. Diplomats negotiated treaties. Scientists shared discoveries. Artists from different species created together. Earth had become what it was always meant to be. Not a human world. Not even a world shared by multiple species. But a world that proved cooperation was possible. That different beings could work together. That the future didn't have to be built on fear and competition. It was a world that showed the galaxy a different way. And slowly, planet by planet, species by species, the galaxy began to listen, began to learn, began to change. And it all started because one captain asked a simple question. What else lives on Earth? The answer had changed everything.